Title: Sentenced to life at 13. Wrongly convicted. He was just 13 years old, barely a teenager, but they didn't see a child. In 1991, a woman was found brutally murdered in a small Louisiana town. The community was shaken. The police had no leads, but they had pressure. They needed a name, a face, someone to blame, so they chose Ian. Ian was a poor black kid. No father in the picture. His mother worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. He had never held a weapon, never had a serious run-in with the law. But that didn't matter. The police brought him in, alone. No parent, no lawyer, just a scared boy in a cold room. They told him if he confessed, he could go home. So he did. Confused, afraid. He said what they wanted to hear. That confession would cost him the rest of his childhood and nearly all of his life. There was no physical evidence, no murder weapon, no witness that placed him at the scene. But none of that mattered. A jury of adults sat and watched him sit silently beside a public defender, who barely spoke. They didn't see innocence. They saw a threat, and they sent him away forever. At 13 years old, Ian was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Prison swallowed him whole. Adult prison, violence, isolation, abuse. Ian spent years in solitary confinement, alone in a small cell with no sunlight, no human touch, no voice except his own echoing off the walls. He wrote letters. He scribbled poems. He begged anyone to listen. But for decades, no one did. Then in 2010, a shift. The Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional to sentence juveniles to life without parole in most cases. That ruling cracked open the door. And through that crack, someone finally looked at Ian's case. They saw the injustice, the neglect, the stolen life. A new legal team fought for him. And after more than 2.5 decades, Ian Manuel was released. But freedom didn't erase the pain. What do you give to a man who never had a first date, never went to prom, never learned to drive, never knew love? Ian now speaks out about injustice. He stands for the forgotten, the silenced, the children still trapped. He once said, "They locked me up because they were afraid of what I might become. But I became more than they ever imagined." And he's right. But behind every speech, behind every smile, is a boy who was never allowed to be one. This is not just Ian's story. There are others, hundreds of others. Kids whose names we'll never hear. Kids buried in concrete cells. Kids punished not for what they did, but for who they were born to be. We have to ask ourselves, how many more? How many more children will we lose to a system built to forget them? How many more Ians? Because what they did to him can never be undone, and it must never be allowed to happen again. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Rich Baby 69 for more injustice story like this.